Again, I got this time on my hands sitting here waiting because I'm a truck driver. I do a lot of waiting. I'm going to share a little story about one time when my load got robbed. The one and only time my load got robbed. And I will say before I tell this story, I'm not saying it to fucking be a fearmonger because I've been out here for 20 years and that is the only time I've ever had that happen. I have had my seal broke a couple times in the truck stop, so they more than likely probably opened the trailer to see what was in there and didn't want whatever was in there. But as far as actually getting my load robbed, that's the only time that ever happened. So this is how that went. I was actually only into trucking for maybe 2 years at this point in time. So this was quite a long time ago. Old school story. And I picked up down at General Mills in Indianapolis. Got in there, later in the day. They took forever to load me. Same old, right? Got out of there, I was tired, needed someplace to park. And I just started kind of eyeballing the neighborhood for like empty parking lots and shit like that where I could park. Which I don't recommend that. That's usually where you kind of get into some mischief. It's best to stay parked around where there's other people and other truckers parked, preferably. But to each their own, do whatever you want. I don't do that no more. So, I find this empty parking lot. It's got some trailers in it. It's like a abandoned fucking warehouse or some shit that they just drop trailers at. So I'm like, oh, that'll work. Now this is pre-ELD, so I'm only planning on staying there for like 3 or 4 hours. I'm not planning on taking no 10-hour break because I'm just going to cheat on my logbook and get up and get going. I wheel in there, I back in, and I jump in the bunk, and no more than just start to doze off a little bit. And I feel like the trailer bouncing a little bit. And I'm like, okay. Start doze off again. Feel it bouncing again. And I'm like, yeah, sure as shit. Because on these trucks, I know it sounds strange, but you can feel people walking in the trailers. So I'm like, yeah, there's somebody fucking around back there. Because sometimes they'll just bounce up and down when the air's settling. But there's a big difference between someone walking around and the air settling. So I just kind of peek through the curtain a little bit to see what's going on. And I look in my mirror. And my door's open, and I can barely see like just the side of the Chevy pickup back there. And I'm like, oh shit, somebody's fucking robbing my trailer. Well, this was also before APU units, so the truck was running. And like I said, I wasn't planning on taking a full 10-hour break, so I was in my clothes. I was just sleeping in my clothes. Because that's how we used to roll back then, And I just waited a few minutes, or probably a minute, and then I just fucking bolted up to the front seat, released the brakes, jammed in gear, and just fucking took off. And I think, I'm fucking hauling ass, right? But it was like a 42,000 pound load. I wasn't hauling ass, but I was getting away. And this pickup, I look in the mirror, and this fucking pickup's chasing me. And he'd like come up on the right, so I'd like swerve and try to run him off the road on the right, and he'd come up on the left, and I'd like swerve and try to run him off the road on the left. It was a real shit show. And at this fuck, I'm probably only doing 30 miles an hour. And I'm doing this for a little while, and he's trying to get around me. And I'm thinking, well, fuck, I didn't expect that. I figured once I drove away, that would be all about the end of that. Why are you chasing me? Now I'm really fucked. Like, what happens when they catch me? And I come up to this corner where I gotta make a turn, and it kind of goes around the corner, and he fucking cut across this grassy field in his pickup truck and just stopped right in front of me in the road. And I was fucked. There was nowhere for me to go. So at that point, I'm kind of freaking out because now I'm figuring they're gonna come up to the truck and they're gonna do whatever they're gonna do. I see 2 guys in the pickup. And I was actually pretty fucking scared, to be honest. I was like, shit. Well, I figured out why they were following me and why they were chasing me down. Because then I look in the mirror, and here comes this dude running up alongside the trailer. So initially I'm thinking, well, what the fuck? I got these 2 guys in the pickup. I got this guy running up along the side. What is going on here? I'm fucking screwed here right now. And then he just ran up and jumped in the pickup, and he took off. Well, he was in the trailer. He must have still been in the trailer when I took off. So that's why they was chasing me, because they were trying to get their dude back. And ultimately, the strangest thing, but if you look at the statistics, food and beverage are the most stolen freight. I mean, you would think it would be like fucking electronics and shit, but that shit's all traceable and, you know, hard to resell. I had Gatorade on. That's all I had was Gatorade. That's what they stole. And after they drove away, I didn't feel very comfortable with fucking staying in that neighborhood, so I just took off. And my doors are just swinging in the breeze. Every time I would stop at a corner, the one door would come around the flap the side of the trailer. It's a fucking pretty shitty deal. And I drove a little ways, and there was a cop doing a DUI, road field sobriety test on somebody, some poor soul. So I just pulled up in front of him because I knew nobody was gonna fuck with me with the cops right there. So the cop's looking at me like, what the fuck's going on here? Because my doors are open and there's pallets all knocked over in there. I didn't go up to the cops. I didn't report it. Maybe I should have. I don't know. But that's how I rolled back then because I was young and I didn't give a fuck. And basically what they had done is the pallets were pretty tall. They just cut the fucking pallet wrap on them and they were just pushing them over, and whatever fell into the back of the truck is what they got. When they drove away, they had a pretty heaping load of Gatorade in there. And I called dispatch in the morning. Of course, I got bitched out for not calling them that night and not calling the cops that night. But I just went further up the road like 3 or 4 hours, went back to sleep. And that is the one and only time I've ever had that happen.